Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. Now, the title of today will focus on the teachings of Japanese Shintoism and its similarity with Freemasonry. Now, Shintoism is a fascinating faith from Japan. Ever since I did the video on the Bushido teachings, I was intrigued that what is it about the indigenous Japanese people which always makes them so persevered in everything that they put their mind to. And as a Mason and as a Sufi, it's my responsibility to make these bridges between the different communities as I show you the oneness of the divine in all the paths that are out there. So today we will focus on Shintoism, and I hope you get some light out of it. And I thank all of you that have always stuck by me and supported my channel and my work. And please enjoy. Shintoism is an ethnic way of life, philosophy, and a perception that has existed in Japan for many, many ages, since time immemorial, just like how Masonry has. And Shintoism, before its organization as an organized religion, it was basically a philosophy and a way of life that was passed down from the ages, from the elders of the village and their ceremonies and their belief systems and how they espoused to get close to God, self-improvement, and the value system of the Japanese people, how they're all connected to this faith which espouses hard work, perseverance, and determination in all that they do. Shintoism takes its roots in the small villages in Japan, and over time it grew from folklore, the worship of nature, and into an organized religion. That's when the aspects of Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism had come into Japan, which had influenced Shintoism's already existent philosophy. The nature, living beings, and Almighty God are all seen as one, as the Shintos call the kami, or the way of the kami, the way of the spirits. The divine can manifest in anything, also known as the kami. The fight between good and evil exists in the godly realm as well. Now, the beautiful thing about Shintoism is that just like how you see the oneness in Masonry in all different paths, Shintoism teaches you the same thing. Just like how even in the volumes of the sacred laws of the Holy Bible, in the book of Luke, it tells you that Almighty God is within. In the Holy Quran, Surah 50, it tells you that we are closer to man than his jugular vein. So, Shintoism is, teaching you that the Almighty and the Divine can be found in everything and everyone around you. And it can manifest in anything, including nature, living beings. And they're teaching you to not just respect yourself, but to respect others around you, including nature, and not polluting your society, not disrespecting each other. As we see in Japan, the discipline and the value system that they share for each other, and how they respect their environment, they respect each other, because everyone is one collective. We're all basically one. We're all an extension of that Creator, walking each other home as we owe this love and light to each other. That's why in all holy books, the Creator is referred to as we whenever the Creator speaks, because it's not I, it's not me, it's not you, it's we, it's you and I. And it's like Mr. Rogers holding the two puppets. That's basically our Creator, as an example, that you have Mr. Rogers and he has a puppet on one hand and the puppet on the other, and they're both talking to each other, trying to understand each other. We're a manifest of that, divinity here on this planet, trying to understand each other and trying to find our way back home to, where we belong. And Shintoism is telling us that we all have that capability within us, and once we realize that the divine is in the heart of every man, then hatred will go down very much in this society, where we're all being divided by race, religion. In perilous times such as these that we live in, we can learn from these teachings that, what I have in me, you have in you. What I wish for myself, I wish for my brother. Those aspects of divinity, relief, truth, charity, brotherly love are all espoused here on respecting those things. And the same thing, what they address as the fight between good and evil, that also exists in the fourth dimension, which is the barrier above this realm. And you have the aspects of good and evil that take place here where we are, and even in the heavenly realms, those things take place also. And we must put on the the armor of God and try to make sure that we get strengthened, because once you start making that link, and once you establish that I'm going to be on the path of self-improvement and to get closer to Almighty God, then the elements of darkness who see you as their enemy will try to put you through many trials and tribulations and try to test your faith to the utmost brink to see if you're really about, walking the path of the light and the self-improvement and to get closer to the divine. And that's the same not just with Shintoism or Masonry. Even in Sufism and what I follow, a lot of the sheikhs, they tell you that the harder the better. Those that are walking that path to God realization will be tested and tried, because as above, so below. The heavenly war taking place up there is also happening down here. And now it's becoming more apparent as the internet and access to many points of information have made people aware about many things. So we must realize, what kind of situation we're facing, and know that, the aspect of good and evil, and how we should always abide by that light and goodness, and try to see that goodness with everyone, and to see that divinity in everyone, as the Shintos teach us that, that is the ultimate reality. To God we belong, and to Him we shall return. Same with the Mason. His job is to get close to the God and get close to his brothers and be on that path of self-improvement. There are 4 virtues which are the foundation of Shintoism, and the 4 virtues of Shintoism are Jo, Mi, Si, Choku, and I hope I pronounced them correctly. These 4 virtues are similar to Masonic virtues as well, and relate to elemental spirits of the kami, the way of the gods. Now, Jo, to be upright and clean, which is also in comparison to temperance, which is also in comparison to the elemental of earth, which the kami can manifest in. Second virtue being Mi, to use logic and be bright, fortitude, in relation to the virtue and to the elemental of the fire. Now, we see these principles of being upright, being clean, to use logic, and be of a sound mind, all those qualities of what a Mason should possess and would possess in his path of self-improvement and in his quest to become one with Almighty God. Same is espoused in the Shinto way of life, in their quest to get close to the kami and in the way of the gods, in their knowing, doing, and thinking, all in a benevolent manner. The third one being Si, always honor your word and honesty, which is prudence, and that's related to the element of air. Fourth, Choku, always be on the right honorable path, justice, water. Now, you see the connections that I make with the 4 virtues of Shintoism in relation to the 4 cardinal virtues of Freemasonry, in relation to the elements, because it's all tied with each other. Because the Shintos have this way of life, which is to be upright and honorable, and also it relates to the virtues of the elements, of which they also put their beliefs in, and to know that you must always, in your quest in this short time that we've been given on this planet, to always be honorable, always be a man of your word, always be logical, always be of a sound mind, be upright, be clean, live a nice clean life, focus on your good health, your good hygiene, all of those things, all aspects of a good life and self-improvement, and to be one with the divinity, just like how a Mason would in his life, to be on those aspects of thinking good, knowing good, doing good, and to know that the self-improvement is not just about memorizing stuff, or it's just not about getting honorary titles or degrees or other things which might elevate you just in this life alone, but that aspect of self-improvement and logic and being bright is also within your own self. So if you have issues in your personal life you need to sort out, you need to do so. If you need to focus on your losing weight or getting rid of bad habits like alcohol or other things to become of a sound mind, then you can do that. If there's somebody that you need to help, then honor your word and do it. If there's something that you need to do, be upright and do it. If there's somebody that you had a fallout with, be the better person and make things up with them as the honorable man under the eyes of God. And following this, these virtues is what helps the Shinto become one with that force, as they realize that that battle between good and evil that takes place, and the more good that we have, the more the world becomes a better place. And it's like when you take good men and make them better, the aspect of Masonry. And when the good men become better men, so too does the world, because then those men in charge of this realm will be the decision makers to ensure that brotherly love prevails, charity prevails, hatred and ignorance does not, darkness does not, pollution of ourselves, pollution of each other, pollution of the world and the elements does not take place. And as we see this order out of chaos taking place with humanity right now, it's teaching us that what good is it doing to any of us, all this fighting and all this division? I go to my local park and there's so much trash and pollution all over the place, and I plead with people that once you figure out whose race or whose religion or who's right and who's wrong, you got to put that all aside and focusing on becoming one, just like the oneness of the brotherhood and the oneness of Shintoism. See that oneness within yourself and know that this planet, just like how you're a living sentient being, and the elements and the nature around you and this planet is also a living sentient being. And that's why all the calamities are occurring on this planet the way that they are. And we must become one with nature. We must go outside, plant our feet in the soil barefoot, meditate under the sun, turn the TV off, which is nothing but agendas of darkness, by the agents of chaos who exist in all races and religions and groups, whose goal is to divide humanity and divide mankind. Because as they tell you that there's that spiritual war taking place, it's also happening in the heavenly realms too, and we're a reflection of that, as above so below. So we must focus on the aspect of light better, and know that good is always destined to win. And if you're satisfied in your heart knowing that, then you will spend your life, however long that God has given you, to be upright, to be an honorable man, to be of good conduct, and to honor yourself and to honor your community, and to always be in a state of happiness and never get mad about anything, knowing that once we realize that oneness with each other, that's when you see the truth about many things. It's like how Brother Manly Palmer Hall himself said that the true Mason is not creed bound. He sees the truth and the light in everything. Nobody's wrong. Everyone's teaching the truth in their own ways. And as you've seen with my other topics that I've covered, that what the Shintos are telling you, it's relative to that. What the Masonry is telling you is relative to that also. You must have the eyes and the heart to see it and feel it in your quest of self-improvement and to get close to Almighty God and with your brothers. The aspect of the volume of the sacred law and supreme being in the Shinto faith and philosophy and way of life is also diverse as how it is in its origin as well. Now, the volume of the sacred law, which their central text of their faith, there is no exact central text like how the Abrahamic faiths do, but they have a collection of different sacred texts, and the three main ones being the Kojiki, the Nihonshoki, and the Ingishiki. A faith revealed in three main stages, just like an initiate of any school of thought, how he has to be initiated into the mysteries in three different stages. So too does the Shinto faith, where you have three different stages of initiation, or three stages of the volume of the sacred laws that help you understand the way of the kami and the way of yourself, and how you see that oneness and godliness not just within yourself but also with the different elements around you, and to know that we're all on the same path. How even with the concept of the God, Here, with their aspect of the Supreme Being, it's diverse in Shintoism. The aspect of God is in everyone and everything, nature, elements, and even people. Saints can be worshipped as an extension of the divine creator, the aspect of all being one. Now, the Sufi perspective, from where I stand, we say that Allah, God, is the only reality because Allah is everything and anything around you. Same thing with what the Hindus believe, that Brahman is the only reality. Brahman is the only truth, that that thought form that exists everywhere. Confucianism teaches you the Tao energy, that the Tao is the only reality. It's everyone and everything around you. And that, that we are an extension of that divine trying to understand itself. And we've been put here as the Word became flesh. And we're trying to understand each other and find our way back home. And we would always exist how, we have the aspect of, a mineral goes to a plant goes to an animal goes to man goes to angel, and angel goes back to God. And in the concept of my faith, where they say when you die, that to God you belong and to Him you shall return. Because that's the only reality. And once people come to that realization that, it's basically we're all part of that same antenna, then there goes your conflicts, there goes your prejudices, there goes your hatred. You have that synchronicity feeling of everyone together, and everyone gets provided for somehow, some way. How, when people say that I was in trouble and, I prayed to God and someone just came along and helped me, because that, that aspect of the, the godliness is within everyone. And, even a lot of the Sufi saints, they say this statement, but it's seen as controversial, where they say that only Allah can worship Allah, meaning that we can, worship each other or, worship the Creator, because we are an extension of that divinity experiencing this life. How, it's even seen in the 5%er video I did with the 5%ers. They refer to each other as Allah. And, what the concept of God here, and seeing that divinity, even in the concept of Masonry, when you call someone worshipful, you're not worshiping that person as a god per se, but you're honoring that brother as an extension of that divinity, because the thing is that so the person who has worship in their heart, they're the ones that are close to Almighty God. And that's the aspect that you have to realize, that it's not about serving two masters. We do know that there's the one central being of the universe, Almighty God, whom we give praise to, and how in Masonry we must always remain pure. And the aspect of worship is to bring peace to your heart and serve others. One who becomes worshipful is one who is close to God. The material ritual worship of the material being and inner worship of the heart must unite as one in order to be perfect with God. Now, if your heart is, lacking, then, the ritual will only give you rank, not divinity. And as you see, you even have those with honorary titles, any numbers or any acronym next to their name. And some of them are still on the path of hatred and selfishness and narcissism. They don't realize that, the oneness exists in everyone, not just yourself. So it just shows you that those who get initiated, there are only a true few who really understand the oneness of everything, and everyone else is still on that path of fighting and division and not understanding each other, even if they do possess the highest honors that any organization has to offer. That oneness can only be felt by a few. And the examples that I used of my Sufi faith and Freemasonry, we can see how the Shintos have that aspect as well, an ancient faith, time immemorials, before any organized religion, and has existed as a way of life for many, many people in the indigenous nation of Japan. The practices of the Shinto faith are unique as well, as we compare it to the Masonic aspect, where you have saishi, rituals to help you connect to the gods and help you become closer with your brothers, just like the same aspect that you have in Masonry as well. Fellowship and, being a master of the work and being a master of everything and anything around you. There are 11 types of saishis or degrees that are performed at shrine ceremonials, and the 11 rituals that they do have are conducted in 3 stages. So you have the 3 stages of the Shinto, 3 stages of the soul, 3 stages of the initiatic experience. Now, the first one being is yosei, is to greet the god, to basically welcome and greet the god. 2, shukusai, is to celebrate its living existence. How even many organized religions refer to God as, the one living and true God. Even in different initiatic experiences, you have that. 3, the gosai, is to see the God, saint-like state. So, throughout these stages, they have different forms of celebrations and prayers and a code of conduct that they follow, as you see with this image here, the discipline of, following those things in order to not just increase the fellowship with each other, but to be closer to the divinity or any form of divine worship that they are doing. And that's the same aspects that you see not just in Masonry, but different forms of initiatic mysteries that are out there. Myself from Sufism, and you have other ways of life that are out there. Kabbalah, Gnosticism, the Vedic aspects of Hinduism. So as we see, everyone is right in their own way. Nobody's wrong, and there's oneness in everything. Each path is getting you closer to the truth. And we see that it's all one mountaintop, but it's many paths to get to that mountaintop. And we must love and respect each other because, we all owe this love to each other, and we're all walking each other home. And to know that we're all an extension of that divinity in our, worship, love, fellowship, and aspect to, be good and become better and know good and think good and not fall into any traps of disunity and chaos, which are only designed to keep us separate from each other. And always be mindful that even those that are claiming to be of the light but are causing disunity of any kind are the agents of chaos, whose job is to divide and destroy the human family. And anything that causes division of any kind is ungodly. So always use that aspect of the logic, that one of the 4 virtues of Shintoism, and an aspect of Masonry as well, to use logic and to be of an upright mind and to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And the gateway to the temples and the gods is called Tori, and as we see the gateway, it's it has the 2 pillars, like the 2 pillars of the temple, and you must cross through it in order to go to the temple and greet the gods and do the fellowship with your brothers. So as we see the oneness in everything, and the beautiful thing about the initiatic experience is that no matter what path or way of life you hail from, you can relate it, and to see the oneness in everything, to know that we're all one and the same, and we're all brothers and sisters on this earthly journey, or spiritual beings having an earthly experience, as we try to understand each other and to have that empathy and our love in our hearts for each other, to know that Almighty God has put us here to basically bring heaven on earth and to spread love and light in all the ways possible. Shintoism also has an aspect of self-improvement. Any mistake or wrongdoing in Shintoism needs to be cleansed in order for one to have a peace of mind in their lives. You must always know good, think good, and do good in your quest to get closer to the gods and your fellow man and your brothers. Now, just like with Freemasonry and other initiatic experiences, where you yourself are the rough ashlar, and over time you must chip away at your imperfections as you become the smooth ashlar, and to focus on any habits or way of life or conduct that might be detrimental to your health or future in any way. You must continue to, over time, work on those imperfections and treat everyone with equal love and respect, as we see the oneness in everything. If you need to focus on your health, take some time off and lose weight and focus on your health. If you're struggling with any addiction, make the effort to combat that. If you're having any financial issues, take the time to combat that. So, in order for you to have a peace of mind, you must deal with all of these things. And you must not avoid any of your problems. You must admit that, okay, in my quest to be better and to provide for myself and my family and my brothers, I must be of a sound mind and to be in a good condition physically, mentally, financially. And if there are any issues in my life, then I must address them. And that includes what we see here is to become closer and to realize that oneness. So if you see anyone berating one another, even on social media, and you must realize that the majority of your initiatic experience is not spent in a lodge or in a Shinto temple or any place where you practice. It's outside of it, with your family, with your friends, at your workplace, in your community, and that's where you represent your character the most. So if you see anyone being out of line in person or on social media, you must let them know and give them advice as someone that you love, to let them know that we must be better than this and not to fall into traps of darkness, and to know that this time that we've been given, we must be in that aspect of representing ourselves to the highest order at any given moment, and to not be in a position or involved in any dirty politics of any kind. We must avoid that, and to know that we have that love and respect for each other as brothers in our quest to help each other, and to know that, okay, we must always be in that state of high conduct at all given times. And it's, for example, with myself, I don't wear a Masonic ring, I don't wear a shirt, I don't wear a hat, I don't wear none of those things. Nor do I have any stickers on my license plate or a license plate that has Masonic symbolism. I represent, when I represent myself as a Sufi and as a Mason, I represent myself to the highest character that I possibly can possess in my speaking, thinking, knowing, how I treat people. So me putting those things on, yeah, they're good and all that, to show, honor in who you are, but my approach is I'm going to show them through my character. And most people, when they talk to me and they get to know me, they try to find out who I am. Hey man, who are you? And then I tell them I'm a Sufi, I'm a Mason, and they get so fascinated. So it's so many people within different communities, I've been able to change their perceptions, the negative perceptions here in the West that they had, not just about Islam, but about Masonry. And why? I did that through my character and my conduct, without wearing anything or representing myself in any way, just through pure love and pure conduct of how I wish to be treated, or how what I wish for myself, I wish for you as my brother and sister on our path to love and light. And we must realize that, my friends. We must realize that and know that, in that aspect of us getting back to that state of perfection, or returning to the garden per se, and currently in our fallen state, we must be in that state of good conduct all the time. And know that, I advise the people who even have the different pamphlets and they put the tables out there, try to convert people to their cause, and they say, okay, we're right, they're wrong. You go to the other table, they're giving you the same information the other table is giving you about life, God, and what to do, and then they're saying they're wrong and we're right. So we got to put all of that aside, and that includes many brothers of the initiatic experience or path who fall into these traps, not just religiously but politically. And that's why we are taught to avoid those things, like in certain regards, but the way that I approach it, it's about finding harmony and balance, not division of any kind. So in that occasion, it's acceptable in some ways. So think about what I'm saying, and think about what the Shinto is trying to teach you, and what the other initiatic experiences are trying to teach you, and how we can apply that to our lives, especially now more than ever. Now, for the Shinto shrines and the harmony that we see in lodges, is the aspect of, brotherly love, relief, and truth. As we see in the shrines in Shintoism, they're known as the jinjas, or the jingas, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and they are a place of harmony. You must be in a harmony with the gods and your brothers while visiting. Similar aspect of Lodge. You are advised to guard against your actions and words and behave accordingly. It's like the aspect of, controlling your passions and circumscribing your desires and living within due bounds. Knowing that when you're in a place of, good love and good faith, you must put any issues that you have with anybody, and for the sake of being in that, sacred setting, you must know that we're all part of that oneness, trying to improve ourselves and to get close to God. So, that aspect of, how they operate in the Shinto shrines, where any activity, any bad activity is forbidden, or any bad action, or any comments or any remarks, anything which disrupts the harmony of your brothers and yourself and all of you in the sacred setting getting close to God, is not there to be for your benefit. You're designed to be a man of peace and to be a man of good faith and good action and good thoughts. And that's a beautiful similarity that I found between the two that I wanted to share as well. Thank you all for watching this. I hope you were able to enjoy it and get some light from the path of the Shintos, and how through their lessons and virtues we can apply them to our lives, and to see the oneness in everything and be respectful of one another and love each other. If any questions or comments, please email me at salmonshake911@gmail.com. All images and thumbnails were retrieved from public domain searches. I do not claim any ownership of the images, and I'm using them under the copyright laws of fair use, education purpose, for my presentation. My videos are always non-profit and for the purpose of education and awareness. All rights reserved.